in the jungle, drinking his water, but I keep my eyes red because of those enemies.
All right, hello, welcome to PINT with Backpacker Mike, episode 113. How about that? Episode 113. Special shout out to the Rudians, Rudians. Search Rudians, Lion in the Jungle. On YouTube, give them a like, follow, subscribe, and a share. Tell them Backpacker Mike sent you. They're out there blowing up in Cali right now. They're doing an outdoor festival. Looks pretty awesome. Special shout out to my boy Terrence, my brother from another, who's the lead singer.
Lying in the jungle, drinking his water.
Yo, Jordan, good to see you on, my brother. Time for Guinness Nitro. Man, I like Guinness Nitro. I like Guinness Nitro. Drinking these waters. During today's episode, most of the episode, I will be playing my Florida travel playlist on my YouTube channel there. So if you guys want to, if you're not subscribed already and somehow find this live, give me a like, follow, subscribe, and share. It's like the motif of language these days. Like, follow, subscribe, and share.
Enemies around every corner.
This was actually when I attended the 2018 Pro Bowl in Orlando, Florida. That was an amazing time. Went with my good friend Mike. We grilled out prior to that. It was a good time.
Lying in the jungle,
Drinking his water. Right, Kathy? Deja vu.
but I keep my eyes because of those enemies.
Yeah, Terrence. That Terrence. Jordan, that Terrence.
Become confident. Why? Because we've
Become
been
confident. Why?
and somehow we're all connected. Just this wicked movement.
Just this wicked movement, man.
And we call ourselves Rudians.
We call ourselves
It's
Rudians.
different. You know what I mean?
It's
But
super mad hot out today.
You know what I mean? So, we giving shit
So I
out
have
of
my
it.
cool towel.
It's good people, bro. It's that simple.
Lying in the jungle,
I used this when I was walking the Camino, and oh my god, this thing is a lifesaver.
because of
I often thought about like trying to get a mission
lying in the jungle,
as a sponsor,
but I keep my
because I have their hat, cool towel,
because of those enemies.
and I use it every time. All right, so real quick, I want to go over the beers that I had over on Instagram before YouTube. First, I did the Office Party. The Office Party, it is like 6.8% on the Richter scale. For you to show, the Richter scale is the ABV, alcohol by volume. The Office Party was basically like a Christmas ale. It was pretty good. Obviously, it's not Christmas time now. I kind of had it in waiting there. 6.8. It was actually very good. I scored it a 9.5. 9.5. It's brewed by Abita Brewing Company, and it was also brewed with spring water, so that's pretty cool. The next one that I tried was called the Dunk by Coppertail Brewing Company out of Tampa, Florida here. It is a German-style dark lager. It's called the Dunk. Check out the labeling on that one. That's pretty cool. The artistic work on there is pretty cool. Coppertail actually scored a 10. That was an amazing dark German Dunkel. I really enjoyed it. Very good. If you can go out and get it, especially if you're here in Florida, you can pretty much get Coppertail about anywhere. It is definitely one that you should try. Here on YouTube, what I will be trying for you guys, I'll have you guys pick which one I try first. Hey, Kim. It's always super cool. Yeah, Terrence and I have always been pretty tight. I mean, he worked for me there too. He's one of my department managers, and him and I always chit-chatted and talked.
I know exactly what you need.
And of course, my chair still hasn't given up.
I know exactly what you
All right, so here on YouTube, I'll be trying for you guys, and you pick which one I try first. don't know where Charles is, man. Charles, my boy Charles, wanted to know about these two beers, and I don't see him on here. I know if I send him this link, it might just jack everything up.
Just one time, from the energy vibing, I can sense what you need. So I'm giving real love. I know exactly what you need. You want that real love, baby, real love. I know exactly what
I'd send my boy Charles a message.
real love.
Leader Brewing. Okay. All right, so you guys pick which one I try first. First up on the list is Sweet Baby Chai. It's a chocolate peanut butter chai tea porter. I'm pretty excited to try this. It seems pretty interesting. It is 6.2% on the Richter scale. Sweet Baby Chai is by Dew Claw Brewing Company, which, if you guys follow the show, you guys know that I do a fair amount of Dew Claws on here. They have probably like one of the most out of the box thinking brewers, I think, because they just come up with some crazy stuff. It says, introducing the enticing encore to our sacred smash hit. Steeped steadily with masala chai tea, this full-bodied brew is an aromatic blend of savory chai spices, divine dark chocolate, and smooth peanut butter. Get ready to exclaim a new name. That's what it says. Pretty interesting. Sweet Baby Chai. Charles is already on, and I totally missed him. All right, cool. All right, so Sweet Baby Chai. You guys pick which one I try first. The next one I have is Maple Pecan Praline, aka Wake and Bake. I wish I was wake and baking right now. Coffee Oatmeal Imperial Stout Reserve. This is like 9.2 on the Richter scale, so it might get kind of interesting at the end of YouTube. And I mean, the color coordination on this can just makes it very difficult to read. But there you have it. See, you can can't even really kind of make it out on camera, but there we go. Maple Pecan Praline Reserve. This is by Terrapin Brewing Company. I believe it's 9.2 on the Richter. So you guys choose which one I try first. As a backup, you know I always got to have a backup in case we go way long. Of course, Pigeon Hill, I had an extra Mikey's Little Wiener beer. So why not? Mikey's Little Wiener beer. All right, what we got going on here? Let's see. Oh, Sharon's on. Hey, cuz, what's going on? Kathy says, Baby Chai. She was the first one. All right, sweet. All right, then. It looks like it's Sweet Baby Chai first. So that's what we're going to do first. Sweet Baby Chai by Dew Claw Brewing Company. This video is actually from Hollywood Beach, down near Fort Lauderdale. It's a cool place to visit. Actually, the guy who created Hollywood Beach in Florida wanted to create a second Mecca on the east coast of Hollywood on the west coast back in, I believe, the 1920s or 30s. So, now that's interesting. I think I read cocoa nibs on there or something. And that's pretty much what's taken over right now on the nose out of the can is cocoa. Yeah, and I mean, it's a porter, so it's going to be semi-dark. All right. Get the timer set. All right, here we go. Yeah, it's all cocoa nibs out of the nose, out of the can. So let's see what happens. All right, cheers, prost, sláinte, and skål for my Nordic friends if and when they ever pop on. Give me the chai. Give me the chai. I do love chai tea. Sometimes if I ever go to Starbucks, which I don't go there very often anymore. Might be a little better. Seems kind of blurry. Maybe it's just me. But honestly, I'm not really getting chai. And chai tea, I don't know. 9 out of 10 times chai tea is served with like some sort of milk or cream or oat milk or something like that. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it just tastes like a porter. I'm not really getting much chai. I'm getting some peanut butter. It's like peanut butter chocolate porter, basically. I'm not getting much of the chai at all, which the chai tea is going to have the spices like cardamom and nutmeg, I believe, is in there, cinnamon. But yeah, it's just like chocolate porter with a slight hint of peanut butter. All right, let's do the pour. Do the pour in my Mad Brews tap puller cup. You can see it's nice and dark and chocolatey. Yeah, and on the nose, it's just the chocolate is just taking over. Honestly, I honestly think a chai tea peanut butter porter without the chocolate would probably be better, because I just feel like the chocolate is overpowering the chai and even the peanut butter to an extent. All right, so the hard pour brought out a slight bit of that sort of chai flavor. If you guys have ever had chai tea or a chai latte or something like that, you know exactly what I'm kind of talking about. I'm going to pour the rest in the mug. But I am slightly disappointed. I mean, it's a beautiful beer. It's definitely a beautiful beer, and it doesn't taste bad. So it's not the taste. It's just, as you guys know, like, what's represented on the can I need to get on the palate or the nose, or preferably both. And to me, this is just like any other chocolate porter with maybe a slight hint of peanut butter. I get no chai, a little bit of sweetness. So I'm slightly disappointed, but it's still a good beer, so I don't want to knock it. But yeah, so if it wasn't as good of a tasting beer, it would have got a 7.5. But since it's a good tasting beer, just labeled incorrectly, in my humble opinion, I would give it an 8. So, Sweet Baby Chai, just know that if you get it, you're not really going to get that chai flavor, but I'll give it an 8. Put this one in there and stay cold while I do this other one. All right, now I am hoping for this maple pecan praline to like just kick my ass. And I hear rumbling and thundering again. What am I missing? I love that name, the beer. Yeah, me too, Sweet Baby Chai. I love it too. I love chai too. Hey, cuz. How is that? What was well, so Jordan, Budweiser called themselves, or started calling themselves, the Kings of Beer, or King of Beers. Mostly because at that point in time, they were the oldest American brewery. They were founded by like Hans Budweiser, or whatever his, I forget his first name now, but he was actually of German descent, I believe. But that all came about basically because they were the oldest American brewery from early 1800s, I believe. But back around 2007, 2008, they sold out to, I believe it was InBev. So they are no longer an American-owned brewery. The whole family sold out, which is disgusting, honestly. So it took them away from being the oldest brewery in the United States. Then also Coors, which was another old brewery, or Miller, which was another old brewery, they sold out to another company from like South Africa or the Netherlands or something. So now the oldest brewery in the United States is Yuengling Brewery in Pennsylvania. That is now the oldest in the United States. I believe they were founded in like 1890 something. I want to say it was 1890 or early 1900s, something like that. So there you have it. That's where they got the King of Beers from. I had such high hopes for that one. I know you did, Charles. I know you did. And listen, Charles, I don't want to deter you because it is a very good beer. It's just not what I expected. I honestly think if they just did a peanut butter chai, that would have been amazing. That would have been good. But they did not. Let's see. I'm going to go for this restaurant. I need to add some more music to the playlist. All right, let's give this maple pecan praline wake and bake coffee oatmeal imperial stout. So I'm assuming it's an oatmeal stout, so you're gonna get that sort of grainy kind of breakfasty kind of flavor. The maple praline, maple pecan is going to give us a bit of that breakfast flavor, like you're having, what I'm assuming, like you're having, pancakes and maple syrup or waffles and maple syrup with coffee. On the nose, it smells like fresh brewed coffee. So I'm assuming that coffee is going to be at the forefront of this. Yeah, it just smells like straight up brewed coffee. Like I just stuck my nose to a cup of coffee. Like I did this morning. All right, let's give this one a whirl. Yeah. That was a pleasant surprise. That's a pleasant surprise. This is one of my favorite places here. This is Fort DeSoto Beach. When I went here, you can see I'm kind of bundled up. This is on the west coast of Florida. We had a cold front while I was there. It was like, it dropped to like 32 degrees while I was in my tent. So I had my hoodie on, like 3 changes of clothes, but I still have my shorts on. Gotta wear my shorts. Kim, you ought to recognize that spot. That's right where we've been. Yeah, so I feel like the chocolate, I feel like there's chocolate in here. And I don't know what it is with having to want to put chocolate on everything. But it doesn't say chocolate on here, so it must just be the stout notes that I'm getting. But it tastes like, it kind of tastes like chocolate, but I'm pleasantly surprised with this. I'm going to clean my palate completely of the Sweet Baby Chai first. Yeah, so what I get up front is a bit like that chocolate stout kind of slight bitterness. You know, the bitterness that you get from dark chocolate. But then it's pleasantly followed with what appears to be like a slight bit of maple syrup. And I get the nutty feel from the pecan. It's not bad. I think it's better than the Sweet Baby Chai overall. But it is very intense when it first hits your mouth. I mean, it's very intense of like 80-90% dark chocolate cacao candy bar where you get that bitterness and then the sweetness that sort of makes up for it. We'll see what the hard pour does. Man, that thing is just like straight beer head. Look at that. Just let it settle down for a second. Yeah, very boozy on the nose on the hard pour. Very boozy. I mean, this is pushing 9.2%. This is definitely like a campfire beer. You know, have it with your s'mores, sitting around the campfire. Great beer for that. Maybe one or two is all you need, really. It's more of like a dessert beer than it is like a pounding beer. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's I mean, the nose is just very complex. That's so weird. Like, I don't know what I'm getting on that nose right now. There's me taking down my tent at Fort DeSoto when I left. Yeah, I don't know. It's very, very boozy on the nose on the hard pour. Very boozy. I think the hard pour takes that initial punch to your palate out of the can. So I think I might just pour it all in the mug. Yeah. It's a very, very dark. It's a very, very dark beer. It's a very, very dark beer. All right. I mean, you can just see. That thing is banging. Somehow fit it in there. Alright. Alright, now we got the one we're going to drink, and I need to score this one. So, the only thing I can say is it's very boozy. If you're not into boozy beers, it's not for you. Two, I feel like that chocolate flavor, whatever it might be, excuse me, is overpowering the other flavors. But I do get what appears to be some sort of maple syrup sort of flavor, along with that nutty flavor that you would get in, like, say, a a brown ale or whatever. And then you get some of the coffee. So, and now it's giving me hiccups for some. I don't know what it is sometimes with some of these beers that give me hiccups. And what the crap with hiccups? All right, Terrapin Brewing Company. I think he did a fairly good job with this. The flavors are there. If you're into the dark beers, the flavors are pretty much there. So I would say it's slightly higher than the Sweet Baby Chai, which I think I gave a 8. The booziness of this may turn some people off, so I'm going to go 8.2, just slightly higher than Sweet Baby Ray's. It's a very dark, intense, and dense beer. It's not very light and refreshing when it hits your palate because obviously it's a stout, and it's an oatmeal stout, so it's going to be a lot more thicker and give you a little bit of sweetness. So 8.2 on that. All right, let's get on to the show now. I know that took a little bit of time there, unfortunately. But let's get on to the show. Episode 113, Top 10 Travel Facts. So again, if you're watching the replay and you're not into the beer, if you're here for the beer, as I always say, you can watch that in the beginning. That's all the beer. Minus the backup I have, Mike's Little Pecker beer, or whatever the heck it is. Little Wiener beer. So that's it for the beer. The rest is the show. So you can just scroll the bar, stop right here, and watch the show. So, top 10 travel facts. Now, I come across a lot of these travel facts off and on while I'm doing research for things, and some of them are just too good to pass up. So, over time, you may see a few of these travel fact episodes off and on Pint Time. It's because some of them are just too cool to not share. So, number 10 on the list is FICUS, F-I-C-U-S. Now you wonder, what does that mean? Well, it means France, Italy, China, the U.S., and Spain, FICUS. These are the top 5 countries that attract the most tourists in the world, are those top 5 countries. France is the most visited country by travelers in the world, and France gets 89 million plus tourists every year in France. That's insane. Probably 80% of them, 70% of them are going to see the Eiffel Tower, so they're all going to Paris. Some of them are probably going to the D-Day landing sites in Normandy, like I did. And then others are probably flying into Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, or making their way by train, I should say, to Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, France, to walk the Camino de Santiago. Those are the 3 areas, minus like Bordeaux and the French Riviera. Those areas are probably the ones that garnish the most tourism. The French Riviera, Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, Normandy, D-Day landing sites, and Paris. Paris probably gaining the most. The next most visited, the second most visited country in the world is Spain. The third most is the U.S., the fourth most is China, and the fifth most is Italy. And you can bet that if people are going to Italy, they're more than likely going to Rome, Florence, and Venice. Those are the top 3 visited cities in Italy. So there you have it. Number 9 on the list, the Eiffel Tower's size actually expands and contracts with the seasons. It grows or constricts with the seasons. During the summertime, because the Eiffel Tower is made of steel, the structure expands with higher temperatures, and then it contracts with lower temperatures. So think of the Eiffel Tower as taking a deep breath in the summer, and then a big exhale in the winter. So it's like the Eiffel Tower is breathing. How cool is that? Yingling and Bud are the two go-tos for affordability. Yeah, Yingling and Bud, yeah, they're affordable. Yingling is for sure. Also Coors. Jordan, if you're looking for like just a cheap, good tasting beer just to chill, Keystone, actually. Keystone Light. It's made by Coors Light. It tastes almost pretty much like a Coors to me, or a Coors Light to me. And it's only like $8.99 or something, a 15 pack. So my option for the best cheap beer is Keystone by far. It's a pretty decent beer. It's a good deal. Goes to France in 2023 to join in reenactment of Normandy. Oh, cuz that is awesome. That is awesome. Man, I gotta tell you, I was just completely, when I visited every D-Day landing site in Normandy, I was just basically engulfed in silent emotion, or silent solace. And when I went to Omaha, where the Americans landed, and I walked out as far as I could before I reached the sea, and I just dug into the sand and pulled up a clump of sand and held it in my hand, and I actually took a picture of it, which is on my Facebook. It was as if I grabbed a 1,000 souls of soldiers that died on that beach that day and was holding them in my hand. It was not an easy go. It was not an easy go. So, which reminds me, as I said over on Instagram, I want to say also that I hope that all of you enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. Here in the States, we are celebrating Memorial Day, or Memorial Day weekend. Memorial Day is actually on Monday. And Memorial Day for us is a time to reflect on those lives that were lost during our wars and confrontations, etc. Here in the United States. So that also includes the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, World War I, World War II, Vietnam, Korea. I mean, the list goes on, unfortunately. So this is our time to reflect on those lives lost who gave the ultimate sacrifice. So for those of you who have family members in the military who unfortunately gave the ultimate sacrifice, or know people, or just appreciate those people and what they sacrificed, I hope you enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. I hate to say happy Memorial Day weekend because it's not really like a happy sort of moment. It's more of a reflection of people we lost. So anyway, lots of times here in the United States, Memorial Day is encompassed with giant picnics and cookouts and people boating and having picnics and parties and all of that type of stuff. And I get it. I get it. It's a holiday. Most people who work will have like a 3 or 4 day weekend. So I get it. But also, don't forget, I should say, don't forget why we celebrate this day here in the United States. And especially now with war looming so close again. Ah, that's awesome, cuz. So they would be like third and fourth cousins to me, maybe. If I'm thinking right. Yes, absolutely, Sharon. Absolutely. Yeah, that's very cool. Oh, hey, there's thunder. You know what? That will be the thing. I get struck by lightning live on Pine Time on YouTube, and that's when everything will blow up. And be like, oh, there was this famous backpacker guy that had 113 episodes of Pine Time, and I'll be that guy that becomes famous when he's dead. I'll be that guy. Yeah, that's all right. As long as people find happiness in what I do when I'm gone, I'm okay with it. First or second? No, Sharon, you're my first. You're my first. So, yeah, second and third. All right. Well, because Sharon, technically, your kids would be my second, and then your kids' kids would be my third. So, here's more at Fort DeSoto. Kim, don't say that. Don't say that. Stop talking about it. That's okay. I mean, death is inevitable for all of us. I'm not really that scared to talk about it. I mean, I don't want to die anytime soon. But if by chance, now see, my chair did like so good when I first got on, and now it just does not want to. Like I said over on Instagram, I'll take office chair donations anytime. If you guys want to ship it in pieces in a box, I don't care. I'll put it together. But this thing just wants to keep sinking. So if you see me go from like here to like here, then you know my seat sunk. All right, let's move on. Number 8 on the list. Hamburg, Germany. And no, it ain't no Hamburg. It ain't Hamburg, doggone it. I know some of us here in the United States want to say Hamburg, Germany. And that's where them Hamburgs came from we love so much. But no, it is called Hamburg. Or Hamburg. Not Hamburg. Hamburg. Hamburg, Germany is a city with the most bridges in the world. Like, I would have never thought Hamburg, Germany would have the most bridges in the world. Really? How many other countries or cities have a ton of bridges, right? So, how in the world? But Hamburg has the most bridges. Hamburg has over 2,300 bridges. 2,300 bridges. That's insane. The largest in the world. Next to Hamburg is Amsterdam, or Amsterdam. I know a lot of us here in the States want to say Amsterdam, but it's technically pronounced Amsterdam. Amsterdam has 1,281. That doesn't even come close to Hamburg. Like, what the heck? Followed by New York City with 789 bridges in New York. How crazy is that? And Pittsburgh follows up with 446 bridges, because Pittsburgh is around three rivers. I mean, that's what Pittsburgh Steeler, the American Gridiron, football, all that stuff. Their stadium used to be called Three Rivers Stadium. Now it's called Heinz Field, because they all started going towards sponsorships. So now Heinz Ketchup sponsors Three Rivers Stadium. So it used to be called Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh because three rivers converge: the Allegheny, the Ohio, and I forget the other one. It's right there, but I forget it. But anyway, those three rivers converged right there at the stadium, and so therefore it was called Three Rivers Stadium. But yeah, and then followed up by Venice. Venice, Italy has 391 bridges, and the majority of those bridges are actually footbridges that cross over the various canals in Venice. And I went over many of those footbridges when I was in Venice. And man, Venice is just so cool. I wish I could have spent more than 3 days there, but Venice is just such a cool, very cool place to visit. I got to go to Michelangelo's museum there and see all of his stuff. It was just super amazing, so cool. All right, number 7 on the list. The oldest tree in the world is 4,200 years old. That is twice as long as Christianity. Twice as long as Christianity. This tree has been around 4,700 years. The next closest tree, I believe, is in Africa or Madagascar. It slipped my mind. I should have looked it up during the break, but it's coming down now. But the next oldest tree is 4,000 years old. So 700 years younger than this tree. Where is this tree located? According to the Spruce, which is an online website that keeps track of old trees, actually, which is pretty cool. Check it out. It's called The Spruce. If you just go to Google and search The Spruce, you'll probably find it. But the Spruce, it's the oldest in the world, and it is called a Bristol cone pine tree, and it is located in California's White Mountain Range. So actually, believe it or not, which is kind of crazy, we have some of the youngest old history here in the United States, if that makes sense. We have some of the oldest world history here in the United States, or some of the youngest history here in the United States. I mean, our founding in the United States, well, all right, so the Mayflower landed in like the 1592 or whatever, right? But the Spanish founded Florida in 1536 or 1538. Comparative to the rest of the world, our history is fairly young. Now, that is the European discovery of the states. Now, if you go through American Indian history of the United States and prehistoric history, then obviously our history goes back a lot further. Like, we have mammoth bones here, and prehistoric dinosaur bones, and prehistoric man here when they crossed the land bridge from the Asian continent through Russia, basically, and traveled the land bridge into Alaska, and then eventually migrated all through North America, Canada, and the United States, and then eventually into Mexico, South America, etc. The history and the travel of man is very, very interesting, and I have watched a ton of documentaries lately from first man, like millions of years ago, until now. Very, very cool stuff. But to think that in the United States we have the oldest tree on Earth, that's pretty mind-blowing. 4,700 years, twice as long as Christianity, that tree has been around. Number 6. Let me make sure I don't miss anything. Yes. What am I missing? Something. Definitely be checking in. Oh, yeah, Kathy, for sure. Kim, don't say that. I know, Kim. I already mentioned that. All right, so number 6. Man, isn't this sunset just beautiful? I know you can't really see it because the light's kind of... That's the sunset at Fort DeSoto on the west coast. I love it there. It's one of my favorite spots in Florida. There in Siesta Key. All right, number 6 on the list. Big Ben is not actually the clock. It is the bell on top of Stevens Tower. I didn't know this until I actually did the research for the show. And then I was a bit mind-blown because I just assumed that the entire thing, the entire tower was called Big Ben. But apparently the tower is called Stevens Tower, and the 13-ton bell on top of the tower is actually called or nicknamed Big Ben, which most people assume that Big Ben is the clock. So mind-blowing. What else is mind-blowing is that the damn bell weighs 13 tons. 13 tons. That's heavier than a semi-truck. That's an insane heavy bell. And to be able to support that bell of 13 tons in a tower is an amazing feat within itself. So hats off to the architect that designed the clock tower, Stevens Tower, with Big Ben in it. All right, that one's down. 13-ton bell. You know, I feel like sperm whales or something weigh like 13 tons. This video here, so if you guys go to my YouTube, which, you know, we're doing this on YouTube, so hopefully you're subscribed. But you can always go to my playlists at the top. I have them all categorized by country, state, whatever. This is the Miccosukee Indian tribe. This is actually on the reservation for the Miccosukee Indian tribe, which is a branch of Seminole Indian. So I know a lot of people outside the United States may not understand like the whole Native Indian thing unless you're really like into it. But the Seminole Indian Nation was actually made up of several different tribes of Florida Indians. And one of them was Miccosukee. Miccosukee has their own reservation down there in the Everglades. This is where one of the Indians, per se, I know he looks kind of European, but there's a lot of European Indian descent people on the reservation. But he's actually showing you the alligators. So the Seminole Indians, Miccosukee Indians, and many others, Tequesta Indians, they all learned to live with and sort of coexist with a lot of the nature in southern Florida, like alligators and crocodiles and snakes and everything else. And so they showed you there how they sort of like handled alligators in specific situations. And then they give you an opportunity to sort of like touch an alligator if you've never touched one before, and so forth. It says Gator Quad Crossing. This is literally, I visited the reservation, and it was very cool. Seminole Indians were also the first nation, which they don't get enough credit for. They were the first nation to, in a sense, create lacrosse. So if any of your kids or family members or anybody loves lacrosse or plays lacrosse, you can thank the Seminole Indian for that, because they, in a sense, created lacrosse. They used to tie old sawgrass basically to these fashioned sticks that were tied together. They created a small ball out of various materials, and then they used those sticks with the weaved net to sling the ball towards a common goal, so to speak. So in a sense, it's lacrosse. And it's very cool. At the end of this video, I actually go up and I speak to one of the local Indians that live on the reservation, and he was selling these sticks and ball in this game. And everything that you buy there is actually handmade by locals. So if you ever find yourself in Miami or Fort Lauderdale, take a trip out 595 towards the Everglades and go visit the Miccosukee Indian tribe and help them out. Show them some love. It's a very interesting place. You can get some authentic Seminole Indian food there. A lot of it is made with maize or corn and various other things, but very cool. You're in Silver Spring? I hear the rain down there. No, I'm not in Silver Spring, bro. Silver Springs is north of me. That's like just Silver Springs is like just west of Ocala. If you're talking about this video, this is actually down south in the Everglades near Big Cypress Swamp. This is the Miccosukee Indian tribe is literally like off Alligator Alley, 595. It's literally off of there. You can't miss it. There's a giant thing outside that says Miccosukee Indian Reservation, and this was like a catwalk or whatever that actually like goes out into the Everglades. And when you stand there at the end of it, you see nothing but sawgrass and Everglades. It's super cool, super cool. All right, let's move on to the other one. With the rain now, it's finally cooling off a little bit. And it wasn't too horrible. Alright. And it's 5:56, so I got about 15-20 minutes left. Maybe 30 minutes. Alright, number 5 on the list. Number 5 on the list. Anybody got any more questions, comments, concerns, anything? Throw them at me. I appreciate you guys talking together. One day I'm just going to do like a Backpacker Mike Summit, where I have no agenda for a show. I just get on here and you guys ask me a bunch of questions and I respond to the questions and we talk about each other's countries and how we all live, whatever comes up. We'll just have a general discussion about whatever comes up, whatever. If you're from outside the United States and you want to learn something about the United States, then feel free to ask the question. If you know, whatever it might be. I think that would be a really good show. You know, we'll just open it up to everybody and anybody, and of course, now the wind kicks up and it wants to rain from the southeast, which is not good for us. But I think we'll be okay. But yeah, I think that would be a pretty good, a pretty decent show. We can just talk about everything and anything. I don't even care. I mean, within reason, you know. Man, that rain's just coming through here. I gotta protect my notes. All right, Jordan. Yeah, you got to show up to the summit. Thank you, Kathy. We'll maybe I'll get some people, you know, maybe I'll reach out to some people and we can do a summit and we can talk about everything and anything is on the table. I mean, within reason. But we can talk about government and each country. If I can find some, you know, maybe I'll do it on Facebook because I can get multiple people on Facebook to interview. So maybe I can get like Yoshi and maybe Krill from Sweden, maybe Mike from Australia, my mate Turtle from Australia. We can get sort of a few people in different countries so that we can all kind of sort of educate each other about how our countries run and what their perception of the United States is. Because I gotta tell you, those guys that I'm friends with have taught me a lot about the perception of the United States outside of our borders, and some of it is mind-blowing because it is absolutely nothing like what is in the United States. So you can see the wind's kicking in. When the wind blows towards me, it starts raining in on our parade. So I'm hoping I can. It's coming through there too. Yikes. Come on, wind, stop blowing. Although it is refreshing, it's cooling me off, but it's also making my mug wet. But yeah, I think that would be really cool. So maybe we'll do like a Backpacker Mike Summit where we talk about everything from everyone's countries, and whoever wants to pop in on it and put in their 2 cents on the live can do so, and we'll interview some people. And I think that would be really cool because honestly, one of my major goals in this whole thing is so that we can experience the world together. And I think that a lot of us outside of inside the United States are so, and I don't mean this negatively by any means, but I think a lot of us are so negative, or not negative, but a lot of us are so ignorant to other cultures outside of our borders that I think by bringing that element in where we can converse and sort of talk and share ideas and sort of learn about each other, it would be very beneficial for everyone involved. Yeah, this is not good. This is not getting good. And we'd be okay if the wind wasn't blowing this direction. This is going to get interesting. So yeah, if you guys are into that, yeah, even my shorts are getting wet. If you guys are into that, then that's definitely something that we can do. So, let's do it. Sharon, I will be hopefully back on Facebook next Saturday. I hope. Thank you, Kim. Yeah, I kind of like that idea too. I think that would be really cool. The thing is that I also need to be able to invite guests, and so I got to think about time frames and all that stuff. Now, you know, Yoshi is more than likely down as long as he can do it. Yoshi's so I don't want to throw a lot of Yoshi's personal business out there, but he's in a rehab. It's not like a drug rehab or anything. It's like a physical rehab in Germany. And I bring this up. So Yoshi, for those of you guys who may not know, my backpacker bro Yoshi, this is the guy that I talked to, and who had the game there. I think I showed the game here in just a second, or maybe I showed it right before this, but there's him and I right there. He's an actual Seminole Indian, folks. Right there. Full-blooded. But anyway, I know I was talking about Yoshi, but in speaking with Yoshi about this, this physical rehab that he's going through there, to give you guys a bit of a backstory, you may not know a whole lot about Yoshi. Like, if you're new to the show, you probably don't. But if you've been following the show for at least half of it, 60, 70 episodes or more, you're going to know who Yoshi is. I mean, that's my backpacker bro from Paderborn, Germany. He has taught me so much, not only when we were walking the Camino, but even after, just our discussions and everything. It just brings a world light, another perspective, a more worldly perspective to my knowledge of how things are outside of the United States. Not only him, but my friend Mike in Australia. I have several other friends in Australia, Adam, and friends in Thailand, friends in Sweden, Krill and Martin. I mean, they teach me a lot too about various things in their country. And so I feel as though I have a more worldly perspective being from the United States to see like what's different here versus there and why things are different and why are they different for the most part. Like universal healthcare, why is that different? We're literally the only industrialized country on earth that doesn't have universal healthcare. Why is that? The corporations, that's why. The stock market, all of our medical facilities trade on the public market, and they have to satisfy their investors, right? So there you have it. Welcome to capitalism on steroids. But anyway, I digress. But we could talk all about all that on the thing. But like Yoshi is going to this physical rehab place that is literally like a 5-star hotel. He's going through like meditations and yoga and physical therapy and many other things to sort of grow him from the inside out and make him stronger physically. And it's all covered by the government. I mean, now granted, they have to pay taxes into it, but nothing comes directly out of his pocket. And the taxes really aren't that horrible in the grand scheme of things. By the time you pay everything out here in the United States, if they were to take taxes out, you would end up paying less if they took taxes versus paying physically every time you go somewhere. But this place has something like a 3-year waiting list, and he managed to get in there. And it's an amazing place. He has a whole entire library in his room of self-help books and stuff. I mean, it's just absolutely amazing. Like, the well-being in many other countries is far different than here in the United States. If we were to go to that same place in the United States, it would cost us thousands of dollars a day. And it's all covered for them by their taxes every year. It's mind-blowing. But anyway, these are things that we can talk about during the summit. So maybe I'll have like a Backpacker Mike Summit. It seems like most of you that are on now would be in agreement with that. And maybe I could get several friends to and others to pop in and sort of give their idea and everything. Now, this isn't, if I do this summit, I'm a guy who likes to talk facts. All right. And I'm a guy who doesn't believe in propaganda on either side. And I'm a guy who wants you guys to know the truth from other people who live in other countries. And the only way you're going to do that is to hear specifically from them how it is in their country. And these are people I trust, so you know. So yeah, I think the summit would be a good idea, and maybe I'll figure out a summit. Maybe I'll do the summit on YouTube, and I'll try to get some people involved in that. So it may not be next week, obviously. It may be 2 or 3 weeks from now to try and coordinate everything. But I think a summit would be very cool, very cool. And it seems like you guys would be interested in something like that. So I think that would be awesome. From a total world view, that would be pretty awesome. So we can all sort of have a better understanding of each other. This is when I visited the Sunjet Memorial in the Everglades, basically. So all of these pillars behind me here represent every person that died on the flight and where they were sitting. So it starts from the captain and co-pilot on back. And so all of those little pillars represent everyone who died on that flight. I believe there was 120 something people who died on that flight. And it was all because of some extra packages or canisters that were put on there by a corporation to take from one place to another, that sprung a leak and caused a fire in the luggage cabin underneath the plane and caused it to crash. Sunjet subsequently went out of business after this crash. And I flew Sunjet several times, actually. It was a fairly decent, cheap flight from Orlando to Akron, Canton, Ohio, where I used to go all the time. I think it was like 65 or 75 bucks or something for the flight. I mean, it was like nothing. Sunjet was a cool airline. AirTran Airways, if you guys in the States remember AirTran, they bought all of the Sunjet planes and used them for themselves. And then eventually AirTran was bought by Continental, I think. You know, it's always the bigger guys buying the smaller guys for whatever reason. But anyway. All right, number 5 on the list is South Africa. And South Africa has actually 3 capital cities. Awesome, Sharon. That would be great. Definitely in. Kathy's in. I know Jordan's in. Kim's in. So I think that would be a great idea. So if you guys have, with that, I'm just going to throw out, if you guys have any questions that you would like asked during that summit, you can either ask it live on the show, obviously, or you can send it to me in advance, and I will see what I can do and ask those questions, and I'll write them down. All right, South Africa actually has 3 capital cities. I have been to South Africa, and it is an absolutely beautiful country. I absolutely love South Africa. If I had a choice of moving there, I would. Cape Town, Johannesburg, Blonsburg, Elizabethtown, Florida Junction, where my boy Cobus lives. I would absolutely move to South Africa. Cost of goods is inexpensive. We get about 17 Rand per US dollar, but the cost of goods is super inexpensive. Cape Town holds the legislative function, and it is also home to the Parliament. So Cape Town, where I visited, is home to Parliament and the legislative function. Pretoria actually has one of the most well-known national preserve parks there, where you can see lions and elephants and hyenas and giraffes and all the big 5. Pretoria holds the executive branch of government. Then, I know I'm going to mess up this name, but I don't remember what this was for. Oh, these are all the people who lost their lives on the Value Jet. It was flying to Atlanta. But there's people from across the world. The Bahamas, Georgia, Alabama, Missouri, Virginia, Pennsylvania, Indianapolis. The crew was all from Texas. But that's a list of all the names of the people who passed away on that crash. Hey, and there's my time. Then in Bloemfontein, I'm not sure how to say it, is where the judicial branch is. So that's basically where South African equivalent of the U.S. Supreme Court would be, is in that town. The reason that these places are separated are both because of history and politics. And as I mentioned over on Instagram, I guess that playlist ended, because then it took me to this one. So we'll just go from Fort Castillo. So I'll just bring up Fort Castillo. And so this is in St. Augustine, Florida. This is actually the oldest colony in the United States. It was founded in like 1536 by the Spanish. And they built a fort there out of coquina, which is like crushed shells, basically. And it could withstand any cannon fire. So the fort was never defeated. It was only given up or surrendered. But it was never technically defeated or broken down. Even when you go there today, you can still see the cannonballs that just smashed into the side and then just fell down from the various ships, whether it was English or Spanish or Portuguese or whatever. Number 4 on the list is Trevi Fountain. Trevi Fountain is in Rome. I visited Trevi Fountain many a times, both during the day and at night. I will say that at night, the Trevi Fountain in Rome is absolutely stunningly beautiful. It's lit up. The fountain is amazing. It's just an amazing place to go see. Now, I will say that if you go to Rome and you visit Trevi Fountain, make sure that you're pickpocket proof, because there are unfortunately, some locals and others that will take advantage of that situation and try and pickpocket you. Also, there are some other devious people who come around that fountain, especially at night, to try and coerce you or make money or whatever. Just don't fall for any of that. Just say no, 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 whatever. But I don't want to deter you from seeing the fountain, because the fountain is absolutely gorgeous. It's absolutely beautiful. The fountain was built in the 18th century, and it took about 30 years to build the fountain. It collects roughly, which is mind-blowing, it collects roughly $1.7 million in euro coin every year. Now, as of right now, the majority of that money, if not all of it, goes to charity, which is cool. But the local magistrate in that area also wants to use some of that money for improvements. Whether it be improvements on historical things in that area, or various other things in that area that can help, and then the rest will go to charity. Tradition goes, when it comes to the fountain, tradition goes, 1 coin ensures that you return to Rome. I threw €1 in there, so I contributed to the charity, which then means hopefully one day I'll return back to Rome. I absolutely loved Rome as a city. I would go back there many times. There was so much to see. I spent 10 days there, and I saw maybe 25 to 30% of what Rome has to offer. There's so many things. I mean, you got to think. I mean, Rome pretty much gained its glory in 1979. In 79 AD, when they built the Roman Colosseum and all of that stuff. But Rome is a beautiful city with some amazing food. If you toss 2 coins into the fountain, you'll get married, supposedly. If you toss 3 coins into the fountain, you will marry a Roman. So who knows what may happen when you toss those coins into there. But Rome is absolutely beyond amazing. If I had to pick 2 of my favorite cities in Italy, and I spent probably a total of 8 weeks in Italy, in various cities. I was in Catania, Sicily. I was in Lamizia, Italy. Well, I was in Catania, Sicily, I should say. Sorry, Italians, if you're watching this. Catania, Sicily. I was in Bari, Italy. I was in Lamizia, Italy. I was in Rome, Italy. I was in Trieste, Italy. I was in Venice, Italy. And the only major city that I missed basically was Florence. Oh, and I was in Pompeii, Italy. If I had to pick 2 of my favorite cities in Italy initially off the bat, it would be Pompeii. The history is absolutely stunning, and to be able to walk around a 700 or 70 whatever AD town that was destroyed by Mount Vesuvius, to be able to walk the cobblestone streets and everything and see the structures and the homes and all the history was just absolutely stunning. Pompeii and Rome. If I had to pick a third, it would be Venice. I didn't go to Florence, so I can't really say much about Florence. I know that was the epicenter of, say, like Michelangelo and many other artists. Michelangelo he was originally from Florence, I believe, and resided in Rome because he had a lot to do with the power that was in Rome at the time. But yeah, absolutely stunning. Oh, there's where I show the coquina, and you could still see the musket ball holes in there, which I'm explaining in the video. But yeah, Rome is stunning. Trevi it's in the name of the fountain in itself. Trevi in Italian means the intersection of 3 roads, basically, Trevi. So when you're standing at the fountain and you're facing the fountain, you have a road coming this way and a road coming this way. So the fountain is at basically like a V intersection. And then you have a road coming this way. So it's where all 3 roads intersected in that town. And back in the day, it was used by people on horseback, carriage, whatever, chariot, whatever. And now it's more of like a walking path. There's not so many cars that can go down there. I think the cars are restricted to certain times during the day, etc., etc. But yeah, very cool. Number 3 on the list. And this is another thing that could come up during a summit. And that is the United States is the only developed country in the world without a single legally required paid vacation or holiday. Now, most of most of the companies here in the United States offer you a week's vacation after you work for a year. Some of them allow you to take that vacation within the first week of, or first year of your employment, but then you go into the negative. So then the following year you get 2 weeks vacation, and that 1 week's vacation pays back the first week of vacation, and so you get a single week's vacation again. It's not until the third year that you finally get 2 weeks of vacation. To give you guys an idea, most European countries, it's mandatory that these companies give you vacation. It could be 6-9 weeks of vacation right when you start, and that's mandatory. I mean, why don't we have that? I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I love capitalism. I love capitalism in its most raw form. I am not a fan of capitalism on steroids, where it's profit over people. That's when capitalism becomes a problem. And right now, unfortunately, that's where capitalism is at in the United States. It's profit before people, period. In most situations. So, I'll just leave it at that. But the United States is the only developed country and the richest country in the world, and the only developed country to not offer a guaranteed vacation. Number 2 on the list. Yeah, definitely Pompeii, Captain. Yeah, Rome is absolutely amazing. I absolutely love Rome. Number 2 on the list is Machu Picchu. Machu Picchu's construction design makes it resistant to earthquakes. How cool is that? So basically, and here comes the rain again. Here comes the rain again. And it's coming in the wrong direction again. But we'll make it through, I promise. We're almost done. I need to finish up soon because I gotta make Pop's dinner. But the stones used to build Machu Picchu are specifically cut and free of mortar. So basically what this does is it allows the stones to move freely when it comes to an earthquake. So basically, the stones move if there's an earthquake, and then they settle back in the original position after the earthquake because there's no mortar holding them technically in place. So how cool is that? Like, I mean, you can't beat that, really. Man, I'm just getting poured on. I'm trying to block my laptop here. Getting poured on. And of course my seat keeps sinking. It sucks when the wind blows from the southeast and the rain comes down. It just soaks me. All right, number 1 on the list, and did I get to the second? Yeah, I got to the second. All right, cool. Number 1 on the list. There's a free public wine fountain in Italy. In the small town of Ortona, Italy, there is a free wine fountain at the Dora Sarchisi Winery. Mainly for those who travel the Camino di San Tommaso. There is also a free wine fountain in Venice during the annual carnival in Piazza San Marcos Plaza, which I was actually in that plaza when I was in Venice. I was not there during the festival. However, the festival there would be amazing because everybody dresses up in this like amazing dress. Excuse me. But I believe, based off of it saying, the Camino di San Tommaso. When I was traveling Italy, I found an actual Camino. So basically in Spanish, Italian, and Portuguese, Camino means the way. And when I was in Spain, I found a Camino that was basically like a wine Camino. It took about 3 days to complete, and I really contemplated on traveling this Camino, but I didn't, which I wish I did. But it travels through several small towns, and it ends at a town where there is a winery that gives free wine. So I would assume, without looking back at my notes, that this is the actual place where the Camino, that specific Camino I was talking about, ended. And then you could just fill up on free wine after the Camino, which is why it says it's mostly intended for those on the Camino di San Tommaso. But yeah, very cool. It is definitely a trek that I would love to take, or a Camino I would love to take. I love wine. I love beer. I like my Irish whiskey, but other than that, I'm not a real alcohol, boozy kind of person. I don't handle shots as well as I did before. So, but yeah, that will work. Now, I do have some bonus ones for you real quick that I thought I'd throw in there for you, just so you know. And then we'll call it a show on YouTube. And I don't know if I'll be back to YouTube or not next week. It might just be Facebook and Instagram. So, if by chance you're following me on YouTube and you want to continue to watch the show, then like me on Instagram or Facebook. Because more than likely that is where the summit will take place, on Facebook, more than likely. Or it may go from Facebook onto Instagram with different people on each, so that way we all get different perspectives. Yeah, right, Jordan? I like the sound of that too. The Sarkeesian Winery. I would need a mega pint. That's funny, Sharon. Yeah, a mega pint of wine. A gallonier. That's funny. A gallon of wine. Yeah, I'm talking a gallon of wine. All right, some of the bonus things I have for you guys. Jet lag is worse traveling from west to east. Traveling from west to east. West to east makes the day shorter, whereas east to west makes the day longer and allows your brain to catch up. So I said over on Instagram, I actually traveled from east to west. But I was thinking the opposite direction. So over on Instagram, I was wrong. I traveled east to west. I didn't really have an issue with um, jet lag until I got from South Africa to Bangkok, Thailand. That flight, and when I landed in Bangkok, I was like trashed. I was so tired. I had a headache. It was just bad. And when I first got there, I checked into the hotel and I laid down and I thought to myself, no, no, no. When you have jet lag, the last thing you want to do is sleep, because then it's going to jack you up completely. The key to jet lag is staying awake until it's your normal time to go to sleep. And then you go to sleep. And so that's basically what I did. I stayed up in Bangkok until like 3 o'clock in the morning, and then I finally fell asleep, even though I was exhausted and I couldn't see straight and I had a headache, but I stayed up and I stayed up until I was ready to go to sleep. So jet lag is real. I've experienced it. That was the only time, though, on my entire trip that I really sort of experienced jet lag. Even my long trip of like 16 hours to Cape Town, South Africa, I wasn't jet lagged. Another bonus question, or another bonus thing, is over 800 languages are spoken in Papua New Guinea, and 12% of the world's total. So 12% of the world's total languages are spoken in Guinea. And Papua New Guinea is where this coin came from that is on my chain. And this came from my mate Mike in Australia, who used to take his sailboat to Papua New Guinea often. Their coins have a center hole. And so I ran my chain through it and put it on there. And I've had it on there ever since Australia. And that was 2018, I was in Australia. So 3 years ago. And I still have it on there. Addicted we are. That's good, Sharon. Oh, thanks, Jordan. I really appreciate that, man. Thank you, guys. I really am. I really do get humbled by a lot of the comments and the messages that I get. It sort of brings everything into perspective, what I do and why I do it. I feel like this show is as much as it is entertaining, it is educational, if that makes sense. Because I do a fair amount of research for the show. I try to bring you guys a more worldly perspective on the show and how things are, how I sort of saw them, how other people I know saw them, and I think it's very important for the total populace, I guess, of the United States to understand that there's a lot bigger world out there than what we think there might be. There's a lot more history out there that we should probably take a look at that we may not have. But not only that, there is a lot more love out there in the world than most of us think there is. And I think that is solely due to the media and the propaganda. It's like they project all the bad and not the good. And I got to tell you guys, in 3 or 4 years of traveling the world in 25 plus countries, give or take, I can tell you that I met far more beautiful people in this world than I met negative. I met far more beautiful cultures in this world than I met negative. I spent 10 days in Morocco. I listened to the imams sing prayers every night in Morocco. And never once was I attacked or ridiculed for being from the United States. Never once was I picked on. Never once was I treated differently because I was from the United States. And I wasn't Muslim or Muslim the proper way. I learned some of the language. Shukran, thank you very much. I learned some of the language so that I could speak to the locals, and they respected that. I may not have said it exactly how they said it, but they respected that I tried. There are many ways and many things that we can do to make this world a more beautiful place and accept other people's differences. But some of us choose not to do that because of our beliefs, our propaganda, or whatever. But I can tell you guys honestly, being someone who lived through it for 3 years out of a backpack, there are far more beautiful, amazing human beings on this earth than what's projected. Just get out and don't be afraid to experience and live your life and enjoy these things. It's life-changing for me. I thought I was an open-minded person. I thought I was pretty open-minded until I traveled. And then I realized that there were some things that I had to pull back on. Like, man, I don't really believe in this. But I'm going to accept it because that's where I am. And once I accepted it, man, a whole new world opened up. A whole new world that got me thinking. When I sat with the monks in Bangkok, in the temple of the Leaning Buddha, man, it almost brings me to tears, I'll be honest. To be able to sit there and meditate and perform mantras or listen to the monks performing their mantras was just life-changing. Life-changing. I have a whole new perspective on life, and that is because of travel. Period. So I hope that you guys can travel somewhat to the extent that I do. Because it's life-changing, honestly. It's life-changing. So thank you, Jordan, for that comment. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Kim. Jordan, I totally get it. I totally get it. So here's my view on Texas. And I don't get political. I try not to get political on this show, but I think for those outside of the United States, I feel like, thank you, I feel like I should discuss this situation. So I'll discuss this, and then maybe I'll give you guys one or two more, and then I'm done. But this may require the backup beer. All right, so, and the backup beer is Mikey's Little Wiener beer, which, you know, hey, whatever. Don't believe everything you hear. That's a good prelude into this. Don't believe everything you hear about Mikey's Little Wiener beer. Okay, so here's the deal. Here in the United States, we have what's called a constitution. I am a constitutionalist. Contrary to popular belief, outside the United States, there is not only two parties in the United States. There's not only the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. If you want to break it down, actually, they used to be called the Republican Democratic Party, and eventually they split. Thomas Jefferson, for instance, one of our founding fathers, was a Republican Democrat. Go figure, right? During the time of the founding of our nation, there was basically the Federalists, the Democratic Republican Party. That was pretty much about it. The Federalists wrote what was called the Federalist Papers. The Federalist Papers were, in a sense, our very first constitution here in the United States. In 1791, Thomas Jefferson, one of our founding fathers, signed into law the right to bear arms as an amendment, the Second Amendment. There's a lot of discussion over the Second Amendment and people's right to bear arms and their perception of what that should be. My thing is when you read the Second Amendment, it has commas, which means then it's a new thought. So when the Second Amendment talks about the right to bear arms and a militia, comma, the right to a citizen bearing arms shall not be infringed upon, the comma separates militia from individuals. Now, our nation was built, derived, or created under chaos. We literally broke away from the largest empire in history of the modern time, the English Empire. They controlled most of the known world at the time. They were literally the largest empire on earth. That Second Amendment not only allowed to me, the militia, but also the average citizen, the right to bear and keep arms. This was in protection against not only foreign invaders, but also domestic invaders, meaning a tyrannical monarchy government that we decided the founding fathers decided and the 13 colonies decided to break away from. And so therefore, I feel that our founding fathers' thought process was that if everyone is armed in some way, shape, or form, that therefore we would be able to protect ourselves from enemies, foreign and domestic. I'm not going to get into too much of the particulars and the back and forth and this and that of whatever. I will say that I am in favor of common sense gun legislation, whether that be a 3-day waiting period, a comprehensive background check across all 50 states. I'm okay with that. I am not, however, okay with the banning of weapons. And I know some people are completely for banning weapons, but I am not for that. The weapon is just merely an instrument. If someone is going to commit such a heinous crime like they did in Texas or in Buffalo, they're going to do it irregardless of the instrument. They will find some way to do it because that person is already considered the thought process of doing such a heinous act. What I will say is, as I mentioned before and talked about if we do this summit, is healthcare. Here in the United States, mental health care is virtually inaccessible. Unless you have money or insurance, it's virtually inaccessible. If we can revamp the healthcare system in the United States and afford these people the opportunity to call or go to their doctor or mental health physician, psychiatrist, whatever it may be, with problems that they're having without having to shell out a ton of money, then you may see more people coming forth about having ideas of doing X. I don't think, however, here in the United States, we are so divisive. We are so divided that we can't see the common root cause of the issue. The extreme left here, or the extreme left of the Democratic Party, wants to ban guns or add extra laws to guns. Listen, there's thousands of laws, literally thousands of laws, federally and statewide in every state when it comes to guns. I don't know how any sort of legislation would have prevented either one of these shootings. And honestly, like I said, when someone gets that in their head, they're going to do it irregardless of the instrument that they're able to use. They will find some sort of instrument, improvise or whatever, and do it. And that's a mental state. When you cross that line, that's a mental state. It's not of the norm. So for me, I think that if we expand healthcare and we do something with healthcare, and especially mental health care, and we provide more easier access to these people, then it could reduce these situations. Now, a lot of our schools here, unfortunately, have put forth many different plans in place. Like this school in Texas, it was like a 28-point plan in place to counteract a school shooting, of which wasn't followed at all. Now, granted, I don't think that kids should be subjected to that, and this situation was horrific, absolutely, unquestionably horrific, by an evil person who felt like that's what they needed to do to express what they were feeling. But I think that because of propaganda and so forth, we are focusing more on the instrument rather than the root cause of the problem. Not to mention all the things that went wrong, like classroom door being left open when, according to shooter policy, it should have been shut. The police waiting outside for an hour while kids were getting shot in the classroom, waiting for some janitor to unlock the door. I mean, you know, there were a lot of breakdowns. There were a lot of faults. There were a lot of things that went wrong during this whole thing. And it's sad. And it's unfortunate. And my heart goes out to those families in Texas that lost such young lives. I mean, it's just absolutely disgusting. But it's not the instrument, it's the person. It's the person. And until we figure out how to address the root cause of the person. Listen, our president has access to some of the greatest profilers in history. We have some of the greatest profilers in history here in the United States. The CIA, the FBI, the psych ops folks in military. They can profile someone and give you the exact character of a specific person. But yet we don't use that. Why is that? Why don't we profile these shooters? Why don't we give the necessary people, whether it's school officials, law enforcement officials, or gun shop officials, owners, whatever, why don't we give them the tools necessary in order to identify the profiles of these people? And maybe mark them as, hey, I'm not sure about this guy. Like, you could still potentially sell the gun, but it would signal the FBI or the CIA to do a further look into this person. Like, okay, let's look at their posts, let's look at this, let's look at that, or whatever. It would give them more of an insight to the person who's committing this heinous crime. So, my thoughts on the Second Amendment is thus, that I feel like everyone within reason should have the right to own and bear arms in the United States. I mean, look at Ukraine right now. They're being invaded by Russia, and they had to go to a government consulate in order to get handed out weapons of war to defend their country. And I feel in some way that the Second Amendment and the projection, unfortunately, that is out there about the United States and our weapons deters people from invading the United States. I mean, honestly, we have one of the greatest militaries on earth. But if by chance some country would be able to get through our military, whether it's China or Russia or both, or whoever, I'm just throwing it out there, would be able to get through our military, good luck getting through the states and our gun owners. and our private militias and more, because you will have far more fight on your hands when it comes to ground level fighting in the United States. Building to building, house to house, it's not going to happen here. It's just not going to happen. So I feel like the Second Amendment inadvertently protects us from any sort of external invasion at this point. But I digress. I mean, those are my thoughts on the Second Amendment and the whole total mass shooting thing here. I mean, it started basically, we'll just say it started during Columbine, these school shootings back in like 92, 93, whenever that was. When I was a kid going to school, I had kids bringing shotguns and rifles to school in the back of their pickup truck on the window. I mean, in a rack on the window. And none of us were ever worried about anything. And I know times have changed, but why? Like, what is the root cause? What is that root cause that changed? What caused that change? Because guns have been in our history since the beginning. Even in the Wild West, 1800s, early 1900s. The only time gun bans started really was when Al Capone and the gangsters took over in the United States, and the whole glorified history of them. You know, they banned the Tommy gun for private ownership. They banned automatic weapons during that time frame because the gangsters outgunned the police. So, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but the one total answer, but I believe the comprehensive answer is you fix healthcare in the United States and you make it more accessible for those who have mental health care. And you fix many of the issues we have. Just my thought. You guys may disagree, and that's fine. I'm okay if you disagree. I'm not a one-all, be-all. If you come up with some sort of other, but honestly, like everything that I've seen from the extreme left on trying to curb gun violence is all the instrument and not the people. When a person in the United States drives drunk and they kill somebody, they don't blame the car, they blame the person. When there's a mass shooting, the person should be blamed, not the weapon, not the instrument. They were going to use whatever instrument necessary. So, anyway, Jordan, thanks, man. I appreciate you bringing it up. Oh, gosh, I see a whole bunch of comments. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Yeah, I know, right, Kathy? Like, that would be amazing. None of those cops want to take the door. Exactly, Jordan. That's the thing. And what upsets me is that if I was almost a cop. Well, I was a reserve police officer here in the United States for a brief time. Then I owned my own investigation business for 5 or 6 years where I did bounty enforcement. Bounty hunting, bail enforcement. I was in a lot of sticky, bad situations where I could have pulled my trigger. The thing is that if mentally you're not ready to put yourself in danger and you're not ready to put yourself in that situation, then you shouldn't become a cop, period. If I was that cop at that school, you can bet I wouldn't have waited for a janitor to unlock the door with a key. I would have took my gun and I would have blown the damn lock off of that thing and I would have busted in there and freaking popped 5-6 rounds off in that kid and been done with it. Period. Done. And saved other lives. Not wait an hour for a damn janitor to show up and then sort of make your way in. While you're just sitting outside the door listening to this guy whack a bunch of kids. Like, nah. Not cool, man. Not cool. When you're a cop, you should know that you're going to have to put yourself in those situations. Period. Yo, daddy-o. So yeah, that makes me absolutely mad. That makes me totally mad. I'm mind blown by that and why it took them so long to get in there. What you doing?
Standing here dropping.
Daddy-o's coming out. Say hi to everybody. I'd like to say evening. Yeah, absolutely. Where you at, Daddy-o?
Right here.
Well, they can't see you. Step out. There he is. He's making his way out. There's Daddy-o. Say hi.
Hi. How do you like the rain?
How you like the rain, he says.
How'd my car get up there?
I don't know, but it got a free wash job.
Yeah, good.
Everybody's like, hey, Daddy-o.
Rained pretty hard.
Yeah, it did. Kim says, hey, Dad.
Hi, Dad.
He says, hi, Dad.
How do you like the rain?
Sharon Scalati says, hi, Uncle.
Hello.
He says, hello. She says, Sharon says, I love you.
I love you too.
He said, I love you too. So anyway, there you guys have it. All right, I'm heading in to make your fishing tots here in a minute. Pokey wokey. All right. Yay, Daddy-o came out and made an appearance. We're at 2 hours, so we're like a half hour over. But anyway. All right, I'll be in like 5 minutes. Pokey wokey. Thank you, Sharon. I appreciate you coming on every Saturday. I really appreciate it. And this is Palm Beach. This is actually where Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago is. All right, so I want to give you 2 more facts that I had on the bonus thing that I didn't give over on Instagram. And that is the northern hemisphere of the Earth is actually home to 90% of the Earth's population. So that means only 20% of Earth's population lives in the southern hemisphere. That's mind-blowing. To me, anyway. I've been in the southern hemisphere. I've been to Australia. I've been to South Africa. Those are all in the southern hemisphere. And it's just mind-blowing to think that 90% of Earth's population is in the northern hemisphere. Only 20% is in the southern hemisphere. Crazy. Also, more than 30 million people in China, more than 30 million people in China live in caves still today. They live in caves. How crazy is that? 30 million people live in caves in China. Honestly, in today's climate, living in a cave is probably a good idea. Probably a good idea. Yeah, I'm glad he popped out too, Kim. Yeah, see you next week, cuz. I appreciate you popping on. Aw, you guys are so sweet. This was when I was in West Palm Beach and I was on the Diva Duck. So if you ever go to West Palm Beach, seek out the Diva Duck. It's actually a bus that turns into a boat. And it takes you, this was our wonderful tour guide. It's very awesome. I think it's only like $15 or something. It's not horrible. But it will take you for a tour around Palm Beach. And then it will take you out into the water there in basically what's called the intercoastal between West Palm Beach and Palm Beach. And on Palm Beach Island there is where Mar-a-Lago is, and various other rich people live there. They take us by they take you by several famous people who have houses there right on the water. They tell you who those people are and all of that stuff, like writers and actors and so forth. It's a very cool trip to take. So if you ever find yourself in West Palm Beach, down in, I think it's called City Place or something like that, it's right off of Clematis Street, you will find the Diva Duck. Take that and enjoy the tour, man. And it's a very cool, very, very cool tour. Very cool tour. And it was really cool to kind of like ride around in a bus around West Palm Beach and then drive off of a boat ramp into the water and then turn it into a boat. It's pretty cool. Anyway, all right, guys. Thank you guys so much for another pint time or another episode of Pint Time with Backpacker Mike. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for all the support and the help. Look for Pint Time returning to Facebook hopefully next week, and then I am really going to work on this summit thing. Maybe I'll call it like Craft Beer Summit, where everyone who comes on the summit, tries a different craft beer from their area or something like that. I'll work something out. I'll get something in the works in the next couple weeks, and hopefully, week 2 or week 3 on Facebook will make it happen. And that would be very cool. So, thank you guys so much. I cannot ever thank you guys enough for joining in on Pint Time with Backpacker Mike. Seriously. I really appreciate all your guys' support, all your messages of encouragement and everything. I really appreciate it. I am just humbled at times with the support and the questions and everything I get here on Pint Time. So thank you guys so much. And as always, peace, love, and let's continue to experience this beautiful world together. And I hope you guys learned something from the show. I hope that, as I say, we can experience this world a little bit better together. And yeah, we're all more alike than we are different. We're all more alike than we are different. That's for sure. And life isn't meant to be lived in the same place. It's not meant to be lived in the same place your whole life. Your life is meant to get out and experience and explore. And I hope that each and Every one of you do that in your own way. It'll change your life. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. Peace, love, and let's continue to experience this beautiful world together. This is Backpacker Mike signing out from Pint Time. Backpacker Mike. I'll see you next Saturday on Pint Time. Peace.